Alright people, these walkthrough videos are getting on. We've already completed the Fellowship, we have completed the Shire Rangers and Numenorian videos, and this part 3 will feature Minas Tirith and all of its units, and those are quite a few, so bear with me here. Before we get going, make sure as always to like, subscribe, hit the bell button and leave a comment as towards your thoughts on this army in particular and Middle-earth in general. So let's get cracking.
To the south of Rivendell and Rohan lies the ancient and powerful realm of Gondor, the first and foremost bastion against the armies of Mordor. By the end of the Third Age, Gondor is but a shadow of a former self, yet still a dominant force in Middle-earth. The High Kings of Older no longer rule Gondor, for the line was doomed to fail. The realm's leadership has passed into the hands of the stewards, tasked with the rule of Gondor until rightful heir returns. The armor composition is as follows. You can include a number of models here. Aragorn, King Elessar, so not the Strider variant. You can include Gandalf the White, not the grey one. Denethor, Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, that's the buffed version of him. You can include Faramir, Peregrine in the God of the Citadel variant. Beregond, God of the Citadel. Madril, Captain of Ithilien. Damrod, Cirion, Lieutenant of Amon Barad. And you can have Knights of the White Tower. Captains of Minas Tirith, you can have Kings of Men, Warriors of Minas Tirith, you can have Knights of Minas Tirith, Rangers of Gondor, Citadel Guards, Guardian of the Fountain Courts, Osgiliath Veterans, Gondor Battlecry Trebuchets, and Gondor Avenger Bolt Throwers. So just lots of models to choose from here. And the armor bonus, you are men of Gondor, whatever comes through that gate you will stand your ground. For any Gondor models from this army list, increase the courage value by 1. Yep, first up here we have Aragorn, King Elessar, and he's 225 points base, so very, very expensive. But that includes Narsil, sorry, not Narsil, Anduril, Flame of the West, which just wounds on 4+ or 3+ if you will, two-handed against any model, as I said before. So that's just crazy good. And he can do basically every heroic action. He can take an armored horse for 15 points extra, so it'll buff him up to 240 points. Staggering, right? But he has 6 fight, 4 strength, defense 7, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, great courage, 333 heroic stat line. And he has the Stand Men of the West special rule. It makes him a banner for everyone within 6 inches. And he has that free might from the Mighty Lord special. And then we have Gandalf the White for 224 points base. He no longer can take a chariot or cart, but he can take Shadowfax for 20 points, and that's quite a good horse, because that has 12 inches of movement. Can't fight, but it has its own will and fate value. And he can do basically every magical power in the book. And he can also be quite the force now in melee, as he really wasn't before. He increases his strength with Glamoring to 5, but he now has 2 attacks, which is a big difference obviously. But yeah, he still rerolls those fate rolls with Noria. Then we have Denethor, which is a very cheap hero and it's not very good, but so if you include him, he's automatically a leader unless your force also contains Aragorn. He has the Broken Mind special rule, which is forcing him to make a courage test each round to see if you still control him or the enemy takes control over him. But if you include Boromir and he is alive, you don't have to take those tests. But if you include Boromir and he dies, you automatically fail, so it's a double-edged sword there. But he's not really a good fighter. He has 2 attacks with fight 5, strength 4. Means a decent attack profile, I guess, but only 5 defense and no might and no fate. So he will go down very fast when targeted. And then we have Peregrine, which is not all that good. He's buffed now from before, but he's still just 25 points of waste, really. Then we have Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, who's a great model, 160 point base, and you can have a banner to make that into 200 points. You can also take the horse to buff him even further, and you probably should take at least the shield as well. You could take lance, but if you take the lance you can't take the banner. So the shield will buff his defense up to 7, and his base fight is 6, which is great. and he still has that Horn of Gondor, and the banner is counted as for all Gondor warriors within 6 inches gain +1 to the fight value, and it's a 6 range banner. So I mean, Boromir is a beast, and he still has that 6 might, but now he has 3 fate, so better than he had in the Fellowship. So yeah, he's a great model. Then we have Faramir. He's 80 points. He has the Woodland Creature special rule, and he has the special rule: is there a captain here who still has the courage to do his lord's will? If Denethor is part of the same army, Faramir will automatically pass all courage tests for to make while Denethor is alive and on the battlefield. However, while Denethor is on the battlefield, Faramir must always charge an enemy if he's able to do so. He's a decent fighter, fight 5, strength 4, 2 attacks, 3/3/2 for his heroic stat line. And he can be upgraded with a heavy armor and a shield to have 7 defense, so quite tanky. Then we have a plethora of lesser heroes here. Baragon, God of the Citadel. I'm not going to go over these too much here. So 33 points, quite okay. It's not too expensive, but it's a minor hero, so we can't really lead all that many heroes. And then you have Madril. I think it's quite expensive for 55 points. Well, it doesn't really bring all that much to the table. He has the Master Ambush special rule, which is interesting. In scenarios where you roll for additional forces to arrive, you can modify that roll with +1 or -1. And if he's already on the battlefield, he can do the same for arriving warbands, and he can also modify the wall to see which side of the board you deploy on. Then we have Damrod and Kirion as named heroes as well. Damrod is dirt cheap for 25 points, I think, but it's just 1 attack, so he's there to lead, kind of bring more models on the table, basically, because he's not really all that good as a fighter. Kirion is a bit more expensive, 55 points. He has 2 attacks, 2 wounds, 3 might, so probably the better of the 2. And he has the special rule, Boldest of the Bold. When charging an enemy that causes terror, he receives +2 to his courage value. Also +2 to his courage value when models with the Blades of the Dead special rule make strike against him, which is obviously very situational. They have Knights of the White Tower for 60 points. They are heroes of fortitude, quite cool models here with this like silver mask thing. They have fight 5, strength 4, defense 6, included their heavy armor. And they have 2 attacks, 2/1/1 for heroic stat line, and they can do the heroic strike. And they have the special rule, the Blade Lord skill. If they score a natural 6 on a duel, the 2-handed weapon penalty does not apply. That's pretty good. Then we have the Kings of Men to represent the Kings of Old, and past stewards as well, but they are really not all that fanciful. But I mean, they're pretty inexpensive budget heroes. I'm not really a fan of the model, to be fair. You can't have any other named heroes if you include him. So then we have Captain of Minas Tirith, heroes of fortitude for 50 points. They can be upgraded to defense 7 with that shield, so it's pretty good. 2 wounds, 2 attacks, 2 might, 1 will, 1 fate for 50 points. Pretty good. And they have the shield wall special rule, so if they are adjacent to 2 other models with that same rule, they have +1 defense, so they potentially can have 8 defense in the right circumstance. And the same goes for warriors of Minas Tirith, but they can only have 7 with an upgraded shield. And that's the basic infantry, so they're quite tanky, not all that strong with fight 3 and strength 3, but yeah, they don't really die all that easy. Their main thing is the shield wall and the good defensive stat line. And we also have the Knights of Minas Tirith. They are basically the same. And they also have that shield wall, but they are mounted. And they can also take a banner, which also obviously the warriors can. And then we have the Rangers. They are fight 4, 3+ on the bow, 1 attack, strength 3 melee, carry 3. They're pretty cheap, I guess, 8 points. But I don't think they are all that good, to be fair. Then we have the Citadel Guard for 9 points each with fight 4, strength 3, and yeah, they have defense 5, and you can't really buff that because the heavy armor is included. And since they are sword and spear, you can't have shields here either. Then I think the Guards of the Citadel Fountain Court for 10 points, just better bang for your buck, since they do have base 6 defense, and you can upgrade that to 7 with a shield. So that probably better choice. Then we have the Skillet Veterans. They have 4+ on the bow, and they have the special ability loyal to the captains. If they are within 6 inches of Boromir or Faramir, receive a +1 bonus, a fight value. So fight 4 then, which is pretty good, right? And then we have the War Machines, the Battlecry Trebuchet, which is strength 10, defense 10, and it has the indirect fire special rule. Always fires using the rules for volley fire, with a range of 12 to 96 inches. So you can't fire on models that are within less than 12 inches of you. And this has an area effect. When you score a hit against a battlefield target, every model within 2 of that target suffers 1 strength 5 hit and are not prone. So in the best of circumstances, you can kill a lot of models in the same go there. It can be upgraded in a variety of ways. You can upgrade one of the crew to be an engineer captain instead of a veteran, and you can have the flaming ammunition special ability, and you can have an additional crew for 7 points each, which also the Gondor Avenger Bolt Throw can have additional crew. You can also upgrade that siege veteran to be an engineer captain, and but it does not fire in the same way. It has short range, 24 rather than 48, but 24 is still a very long distance. It shoots D6 shots each turn rather than 1, and each shot is resolved in the same way as a shooting attack rather than a siege engine. No scatter roll, either hit or miss. So that's it for Minas Tirith. So lots of models to choose from, and obviously their alliance matrix is also quite open, right? So yeah, one of the most versatile armies you can pick.
And so that is it for today's walkthrough of Minas Tirith and all its units. So if you enjoy these walkthroughs of mine, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and hit the bell button as to not miss out any further content. Take care. Bye.